Hey guys, welcome back to FG Tech Tips. I wanted to try something new in this video, and as you probably saw from my Asus X570 TUF motherboard review that you can check by the way right here, there is only one M.2 heatsink on the motherboard, but that's basically missing on the primary slot. So I went ahead and ordered this heatsink that you can see here just for $5. And here we're gonna see if this helps somehow in both thermals as well as overall performances. I'll be using it on a 1TB M.2 SSD drive from Sabrent that you can check right here. I reviewed it recently. Since the other M.2 slot is occupied by a 480GB Kingston drive, which anyway doesn't get as warm as the Sabrent unit. I believe that apart from being very useful and quite cheap, these heatsinks will also help the looks of your builds. As without one of these, the SSD sticker will be very evident and distracting. So when looking at your rig, you won't see anything like that. The solution I purchased, as said, is quite cheap, just for $5. It's really great, coming from China. I'll put the link below as usual in the video description, but basically you can find similar products really at any price. I think the EK water block and the alpha cooling solution are going for $15 to $20. There are also some other valid alternatives from China for around $10. Some of them also have an integrated micro fan and also an LCD showing temperature, but I was basically looking for a stealth look and as silent as possible. Obviously, since we are talking about passive cooling here, it will be very important to have a good airflow in your case in order to optimize the results. So now let's look at the product in detail and let's look on how to install it. So as I mentioned, we're going to use that slot there where the Sabrent unit is, and we're going to use this heatsink right there. I took the 4mm version, which is quite low profile, as we can see. But you can also choose from other product variants. We have, for example, 1.5, 2 and 3mm as well available. The size is 70mm per 20mm. And talking about material quality, that's exceptional. So in the bottom we can see a very smooth pure copper base, while at the top we have a graphene coating. Graphene is well known to be the most efficient heat conductor in the world and can reach up to 5300 watts per meter Kelvin, while pure copper it's only 386. It's anyway easy and convenient to install and to remove. The installation is quite self-explanatory. We only have the 3 rubbers for keeping everything together, and obviously the thermal pad that needs to go between the surface of the SSD and the heatsink. So that's why we don't have any instructions in the bag. So now let's look at the installation process. We can now see I have mounted our SSD from the PC. So in some cases you have to remove the sticker, but in this case I won't do that, since there is a copper layer right below this. You can probably see that. So the first thing to do will be to remove the plastic layer on both sides of the thermal pad. Alright, now we simply have to place the heatsink on top of it and secure it with the rubber bands. I think 2 should be enough, but we can put 3 of them. First one. So, and here the final product with the 3 rubber bands. Now, honestly, you can't really see them once in your PC. They are mostly invisible. So that's what I like about this product. It's not so thick, but it might be an issue on some motherboards probably. So better check before purchasing. Otherwise, you have to purchase the less thicker versions, which are, as I said, 1.5 millimeters, 2 millimeters or 3 millimeters. So now let's mount it back and do some bench in order to see if we gain some degrees. And this is how the unit looks like in the case. So the 3 rubber bands that I thought are really invisible. Probably I can just go on with the cutter and remove the excess of the thermal pad just for better looking. But I would say it's a pretty good result. Now here you can see the thermals results after running Crystal Diskmark, AS SSD benchmark and ATTO disk benchmark, twice in each scenario.
Do you think I want this? Don't stop.
And we immediately see that simply by using this cheap heatsink we gain 8 degrees Celsius on the highest temp, while we see no major change in the average temperatures. But that also depends on how long you run your PC on with these settings. Since the tests were made with my default fan curve, which is silent, and it will turn off the fans at lower than 40 degrees Celsius. In order to test what happens with better airflow in the case, I've also added an additional test with all fans on full speed. And we can see we gain 7 degrees in the average temps compared with the heatsink with silent fans and with no heatsink. But we also gain a total of 12 degrees on the highest temps compared with the M.2 unit without heatsink, which is a great result. So as we saw, we gained around 8 degrees Celsius on the highest temp at full load, and I think that's a very good win for just $5. Obviously, if you have an high-end motherboard, you probably wouldn't care so much about this video, as most likely you will have already 2 or more M.2 heatsinks pre-installed on your motherboard. But if you have a slightly cheaper motherboard with no heatsink at all, or maybe just one heatsink like in my example here, I would definitely recommend you to purchase one of these copper heatsinks, as they not only do a great job in lowering down your temperatures, but they will also help in increasing the SSD M.2 lifespan, as well as helping a little bit with the aesthetics of your rig. Also, if your M.2 unit reaches about 70-75 degrees Celsius, most likely it's going to do thermal throttling, resulting therefore in degradation of performances. So in this case, you will easily solve the problem with one of these products. But before purchasing one of these, please make sure you have enough space. The product, in my example, the product I've purchased, as I said, it's just 4mm thick, but it's already touching the CPU water block plexiglass, so be very careful on the measurements before proceeding with the purchase. Thanks so much for watching, that's all for today. Thanks for watching this video, and as always, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and I will do my best in order to answering them. Also, please click on the like and subscribe button in order to subscribe to the channel, it's always very appreciated. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.